Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that many of us can relate to. Whether we're just musicians, photographers, or just enthusiasts of any kind. It's called gear acquisition syndrome, or GAS for short. So if you've never heard of it, um, GAS syndrome, gear acquisition syndrome, is a phenomenon where we become obsessed, with acquiring new gear, often to the point where it becomes an unhealthy habit. We start to believe that if we had just that one more piece of equipment, that we'll be able to achieve much more. We'll be able to achieve that perfect sound, that perfect picture, that perfect video, or that perfect performance. Because it's not just photographers and videographers that this syndrome affects. It affects every artistic endeavor, whether you're a singer, whether you're a writer, a graphic designer. There's always that desire or quest to acquire as much equipment, things that we think will help us to do a better job. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing inherently bad about trying new things and trying to buy new gear or trying to equip yourself to do a better job. There's nothing wrong with it. It's actually a great way to increase our skills, improve our performance, and achieve our goals, right? When you buy, very nice piece of equipment, a better lens, a better camera, and all of those things, it's actually very helpful. But the problem arises when we start to rely too much on our equipment and we forget about the most important thing, which is our ability, which is ourselves, our skills, which is we as the people who own these skills. So you see, the truth is that there's no amount of gear that can make up for lack of talent. There's no amount of gear that can replace creativity. There's no amount of gear that can replace hard work. And sometimes having too much gear can even be a hindrance because you end up spending more time thinking about the equipment than actually creating something. And that's where the problem lies. So you're going to do a simple photo shoot. You begin to think about the fact that should I carry my 85 millimeter? Should I carry my 50 millimeter? Should I carry my 24 millimeter? Or you want to do graphic design. You're wondering which software should I use? Should I use this? Because you've acquired everything. So we spend more time thinking about the gear than actually creating something. And for someone like me, this has really been something I've experienced. There was a time when I looked at myself and I realized that I had two cameras, I had enough lenses, I had different kind of softwares, I had more than one laptop. But when I look back at the months that had gone by, I had not really created anything. I could not really point to anything solid that I created. Meanwhile, there are people out there who have just one camera, who had just one piece of equipment, and they were producing solid content, even just with their mobile phones. The thing is, how do we overcome gas? Well, the first step is to recognize that it is real, that it's a real issue, and that it can have negative effects, all right, on our creativity, our productivity, on developing our skills, learning how to use our existing gear. Gas can prevent you from developing yourself and knowing how to use what you already possess. So the thing is that we need to be able to recognize this problem. Speaking to somebody out there, you probably feel like you're stagnant as a creative, you're not moving forward. Sometimes you feel paralyzed because you've not been able to buy that next new lens or new camera that you want. But you need to realize that that's not really where the problem is. Yes, it might be useful, but then you have to be careful that you don't have gas. So finally, if you decide to buy new gear, just make sure you do it mindfully with a clear purpose, right, and a clear budget in mind. And let's avoid the trap of always wanting the latest and greatest. And instead, choose equipment that fits our needs and goals. And more importantly, learn to use what you have now. That is so key, so vital. Whatever you have already existing, whatever you have already within your grasp, whether it is just one camera, one lens, one computer, one laptop, one connection, one opportunity, whatever it is that is presently in your life that you think that is part of this whole thing about you creating. You need to learn how to use it well. So there you have it, gas in a nutshell, gear acquisition syndrome. A lot of photographers will be familiar with this, but I'm sure that this relates to many other fields as well. It's a common problem, but it's one that we can overcome with awareness, with focus, with intentionality, and with a determination to use what you have better. I don't want to make this video too long, but while I was making the video, I began to think about myself and I realized that I'm not sure I've totally recovered from the gear acquisition syndrome, or if I have recovered, it's not too long ago I recovered, because as I make this video to you right now, I realized that there are certain things that I feel like I have too much of. I have like three gimbals, all right, different types. I have the Osmo 6, I have the Zhiyun M2, Crane M2, I have the Zhiyun Weebill S, and I have the Ronin S. Now, I have tried to get rid of the Ronin S, selling it, but unfortunately, I've not been able to sell it yet. But I have all these other gimbals. And I realized that I hardly use them. I hardly use them to do what I need to do. And many times, if I need to create steady video, I can do it with just one of those equipments if I just settle down and use it well. Or I can even create the content without them at all. So the bottom line is that I even have some of these things I have not used in a while. And when you think about that, that's money tied up in equipment that you're not using. That's money tied up in stuff. And the same thing with software. A lot of times we see a new app that we think, oh, will help us create better content. We pay for those apps. Then years later, or months later, we realize that we're not really using the apps and they're making the deductions from your account every month or every year. Like getting a new phone when you already have one that takes pretty good pictures, but you just tell so that if I don't get that iPhone, my pictures will not be up to par. I see this a lot with makeup artists. I've seen makeup artists who feel paralyzed in pushing their craft forward because they've not yet gotten that iPhone 8, 9, 10, or whatever. The truth is that we really need to take a step back and look at our lives and think about the fact that are there things that are holding us back, like gas, like gear acquisition syndrome, desire to get the equipment and gear and things that we think we need to help us to begin to create more and to be more productive. How about taking a step back and looking at what you have and what you can do already? All right. So one of the ways to force yourself to move beyond that gear acquisition syndrome is to force yourself to create every day or every other day or more frequently using what you have. So for instance, I gave myself this task of becoming more productive in creating YouTube videos. Unlike before when I would wait until I thought I had the perfect topic to share on YouTube or the perfect video to make. Now I just tell myself that whatever it is that comes, I'll act on it immediately. Whatever equipment I have available to use, I'll use it immediately. I'm not going to wait until I can set up my gimbal. I'm not going to wait until I feel like using my other equipment. Whatever I have now, if it's one camera I have, I'm going to use that one camera, start shooting content. If it's one gimbal I have, I'm going to, if I have to go out to make a video and there's no time to take the Osmo, I'm going to use my iPhone and use it just the way it is. The other thing again is about moving towards minimalism because sometimes less is more. The less you have to think about in terms of your gear, in terms of your equipment, the better you're able to produce. Another way to look at it is looking at our wardrobes. The more clothes you have in your wardrobe, the more of a headache you have waking up in the morning deciding on what to wear. Trust me, I've been there. A lot of people have been there. Sometimes when you look into your wardrobe and you see like 20 different shirts, 30 different trousers, shoes, the extra time you spend thinking, oh, should I wear this or should I wear that? The first time I heard about this was with Mark Zuckerberg. It's a time when you would only see Mark Zuckerberg with a gray t-shirt and blue jeans for a long time. And I think when he was asked, he said that the time he would spend thinking about where, that's time lost. And it's actually a beautiful thing, that minimalist life, when you can wake up in the morning and you know that you have limited choices of clothes to wear. So, imagine if you had just black t-shirts and blue jeans to wear. Imagine if that was all that was in your wardrobe. You wouldn't wake up thinking about whether to wear that native, wear that cap, or you just put on your black t-shirt and your jeans and you head out. You've saved a lot of time. So the same thing with our gear, with our equipment. All right. I'm speaking to myself as well. We need to work towards making things as simple as possible. Less is more sometimes if you want to be more productive. Sometimes the more you acquire, the more things you pull to yourself that you think will help you to be more productive, the less productive you are. Sometimes you just need to keep it simple and just stick with what you have, learn to use it well, move forward. You can create that award-winning picture with just that phone you have already. You can create that beautiful masterpiece with just that gear that you have already. You don't have to wait until you acquire the next thing. You're spending money. Many times when you buy those equipment, the value of those things drop immediately. They leave the store. If I buy a camera today at $2,000, I'm not going to sell it at $2,000 unless I'm lucky. I'm probably going to sell it for less. A lot of things can happen when you acquire this equipment, and then at the end of the day, it's much easier to buy than it is to sell. When you want to sell off things that you're not using, it's sometimes much more difficult than it is to buy. I've been a spontaneous buyer before. It's part of me. I'm not really a patient person, so when I see something I want and I feel I need it and it's going to help me, I go for it immediately. And at the end of the day, I end up acquiring a lot of things. So the video I'm sharing with you today is really from my experience. I really hope that by sharing this, I would also be able to break free. And I hope that I've encouraged somebody out there to also wake up and see that you don't really have to wait until you have everything before you move, before you take that step. You can act with what you have right now and you can be more productive. So thanks for watching. Don't forget, hit the like button, drop a comment, and please subscribe if you like this video. Have a good one. See you in the next video.